Welcome back to the Ed Show. The death of Muammar Gadhafi is the end of a brutal chapter in history, and it's the start of a new one that may provide closure for hundreds of Americans. Gadhafi has been long suspected of orchestrating the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland. In 2009, Gadhafi helped arrange the release of the convicted bomber Abdel al-Maghari. With Gadhafi dead, family members of victims and U.S. officials hope to finally get all the facts about the tragic terrorist flight. Bert Ammerman, brother of Pan Am victim Tommy Ammerman, spoke about Gadhafi's death with Tamron Hall earlier today on MSNBC.
It's justice. There is no question. For me, it brings closure. It's hard to believe that I've been doing this for 23 years. And to finally get the man that ordered the bombing of Pan Am 103 eliminated, that is true justice for my brother and all citizens in free countries.
Joining me now is Senator Robert Menendez of New Jersey. Senator Menendez is a member of the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations. Senator, good to have you with us tonight. I know you've worked awful hard on this over the years, trying to bring closure for all of the families in the wake of this tragic bombing, which has haunted the United States for years. What are you hearing today from victims, from victims' families?
Well, I think overwhelmingly, Ed, there is a sense of a measure of justice here. We have always thought that Gadhafi was the one who ordered the bombing of Pan Am 103, where 270 lives were lost, including 34 from my home state of New Jersey. And the reality is that we always knew that al-Maghari was the convicted bomber, could not have acted alone. And it's obvious that al-Maghari was so important to Gadhafi that he used all of his leverage on an oil deal to get him back into Libya. So this is a measure of justice, but I still want to close a very final chapter and make sure that the Transitional National Committee, that is the interim government, continues to give us access to all those others in the regime to make sure that everybody comes to justice.
Well, you authored the Pan Am Accountability Act, which requires a new Libyan government to cooperate in the Lockerbie investigation. What's going to be the next step there?
Well, certainly we have about, I think, anywhere between $30 and $36 billion of frozen assets of the Libyans in the United States. And while we have been supportive of giving some of that money for humanitarian purposes, it seems to me, as I have said to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, that we need to make sure that the Transitional National Committee is cooperating with us, both in access to al-Maghari, who is in Libya, and to others in the Gadhafi regime who may have been part of his government and who may have been part of this whole process of determining the execution of Pan Am 103. And so I think if we get that type of response, of course, then we can have those assets flow fully to Libya. If we don't get that type of response, we should use it as a leverage point.
I want to play some more from Bert Ammerman and hear what he had to say about the death and what it means, the death of Gadhafi.
I've been saying for 20 years, if you want to eliminate state-sponsored terrorism, you go after the leaders like Gadhafi, like Hussein, like the leader in Iran right now. If they know that we're going to deal with that, this will stop. I applaud the Obama administration. He's developed a blueprint for the future. Technology, intelligence, allies.
Senator, is he correct about a new blueprint for the future?
Well, look, the Obama administration here led as the sponsor of the no-fly zone resolution in the Senate that then led to the effort at the United Nations and NATO's engagement. You have to give credit to President Obama for leading an international effort here that ultimately 8 months later brought the end of a 42-year dictatorship. And if you add that to the capture and killing of bin Laden and al-Zawahiri, the reality is that this is the one administration that has actually brought those terrorists to justice.
What about the concern that is out there dealing with loose arms falling into the wrong hands? Shoulder-fired missiles, some chemical weapons. Where do you stand? Where do we stand on that? How much of a concern is it?
Well, it's a concern, particularly with the shoulder-fired missiles. The Transitional National Committee didn't do a particularly good job, and understandably, they were in the midst of a struggle to oust Gadhafi, but they didn't secure those sites, at least not all of them. And so that is a concern for us, and it's something that we're going to have to work with them to track down and to make sure that the rest of those sites are secure now.
Senator, have we become so political in this country that Republicans can't give the Obama administration any credit whatsoever? They seem to stop we used to stop as a country at the water's edge when it came to international affairs like this. But the remarks that are coming from your colleagues over on the other side of the aisle are almost gut-wrenching. Your thoughts on that?
You know, it's a shame. This is a moment in which America should rejoice in the sense that a terrorist was brought to justice as someone who killed Americans, someone who promoted terrorism. The fact of the matter is I guess that when your mission in the Congress of the United States is to make Barack Obama a one-term president, you can't even cede credit to him when he has acted in such a way that has helped the nation be more secure. Bin Laden, al-Awlahi, now Gadhafi. That's one impressive record for one president.
Senator Robert Menendez, New Jersey, good to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.
Good to be with you, Ed.
Coming up, it's an Ed Show exclusive. Dr. Cornel West gives his first interview since his arrest in front of the Supreme Court. I'll ask him about the future of the 99% movement and much more. You won't want to miss this.